Shabbat Shalom, Eric. Shabbat Shalom, Doris and Saul. And I don't know who's with you, but if Peter is with you, if Hetty is with you, Shabbat Shalom to you as well. Let's see who else is with us. Okay, those are the only two that I can see. Hi, David and Catherine. So unfortunately, I can't see everybody. I think it only tells me who you are if you do have a Facebook account. So I won't be able to greet everyone personally. Hi, Patty. Hi, Lisa. Hi, Eric. So I was thinking that we'd give people a moment or two to trickle in, and I was going to invite people to just share some Shabbat greetings by typing in, hi, Jessica and family. So if you wanted to just sort of greet each other. Oh, hi, Brett, Rebecca, and Max, and Eric in the background. If you want to greet each other just by hello, poppers, chirillas, could you type in just a Shabbat Shalom greeting? Let's just imagine that we are together in the chapel or the sanctuary and that you're getting a chance to see familiar faces or new faces, and you're able to do what we do best at Ohabei Shalom, which is really give each other a warm greeting. So I want to just give us a moment to do that as if we were in person, to just say Shabbat Shalom to one another. So Shabbat Shalom to those who are just joining us, Elisa and family, and my mom. So one advantage of this is that family from all around the country and world, friends from everywhere are able to join in. We really open our doors wider than ever. Hi, Susan. We open our doors wider than ever at this point. And of course, during Passover, we say, let all who are hungry come and eat. So I like to think that in offering up these online services as a community, we're really opening our doors wide to all who are hungry for a sense of spiritual sustenance and community. And whether we're living alone right now or we have a house full of family, I think we're all experiencing loneliness in our own ways. So welcome to everybody. If you have the capacity to type into the comments and haven't yet, just want to greet the others who are here, you can type in Shabbat Shalom and anything else you'd like to say. I will say at the outset that I was thinking how grateful I am to have such a musical husband who's also a rabbi and could just be here accompanying me really seamlessly. And hopefully you won't hear too much background noise from our kids, who are maybe a little worn thin by the last several weeks, as I think all of us are. But I am so grateful that Rabbi Jethro Berkman, who's here with me, can play so beautifully. I think he's playing an original composition right now as we gather, and that he'll be able to accompany us through our prayers. So with that, I will take my place at the podium, which for those who haven't heard the story, I happen to have this amud, this podium, right in my house. Came in handy in a way I could never have imagined, but this is a standing desk that belonged to my father-in-law, Richard Berkman of blessed memory. So we have come through a week that included Passover within it, the beginning of Passover and the Seders, which were certainly different from any beginning of Passover days that any of us have ever experienced. So whatever that experience was for you, for sure it was different from other years. And whether it was joyful and full of virtual connection or whether it was lonely, I want us to just be here now together in this virtual community. I'd like to invite us to take some deep breaths to let go of this week that has passed and make space in ourselves for the rest of Pesach, the days to come, and the days in the week that is ahead of us. So a couple more deep breaths. And I thought that we'd begin this evening by singing Yedid Nefesh, which is which is a traditional way of opening up a Shabbat service, but we sing it less frequently in our community. But if you turn to page 10, if you're in our book, and if you don't have a book at home and you're following online, if you're not sure of the link to the online Siddur prayer book is on our website, our Temple Ohabei Shalom website. So I'm going to lead us beginning with a nigun with Yedid Nefesh. And the reason I thought we'd use this and we'd sing this tonight is that Yedid Nefesh means beloved of my soul. And it's traditional during Passover to read the book of the Song of Songs, which is a beautiful book that is really love poetry. And our sages envisioned it as representing the relationship between God and the people of Israel as beloveds. And they also envisioned something like a betrothal, an engagement that happens between God and the people when God frees the people from slavery, and that the wedding happens 7 weeks later when we move forward through this time of counting the Omer from Passover to Shavuot. And when we get to Shavuot or Shavuos, that's the wedding between God and the people Israel when the Torah, this great gift of love, is revealed. So that's why I thought we'd sing Yedid Nefesh. I'm going to begin with a nigun. Yai lai 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 lai, 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 yai Yai lai 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 lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, Yedid Nefesh. ירוץ עבדך כמו אייל, ישתחווה אל מול הדרך. יאי לי לי לי, יאי לי 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 לי, יאי לי 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 לי, יאי לי 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 לי, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Welcome to those who are just joining us. And I want to emphasize again that though we are not sharing a physical space right now, I really do hope you will bring your voices, whether you're alone or with others in your home. I hope that you will sing along this evening, bring your voice into this virtual space, whether with humming or Yadidai, as we just did. I really do think it matters. I think that our energy does come together and actually becomes an energy that can transcend all of us. And I think that that transcendent energy is really needed right now. And we need to create that with each other and for each other. So we're going to light candles now, and then we're going to sing Shalom Aleichem and greet the messengers or the angels of peace. So if you're at home and want to join with us as we light candles a bit early in terms of Shabbat's actual starting time when night falls, but we enter into this sacred time with this blessing, which if you're following along and need the words, it's on page 2. Baruch atah Shabbat Shalom. Let's turn to page 24 for Shalom Aleichem. How might you be an angel of peace for somebody else this Shabbat? Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Shabbat as our ancestors did in medieval times. They compiled these ancient psalms to be sung as a unit in the Kabbalat Shabbat service to recall that actually, ultimately, we're not in charge of everything, we're not in control of everything. The heavens and the earth have a power that transcends them and all of us, and we sing that joyously and maybe with a sense of release and surrender, appreciation and gratitude. We're on 13.
Shir
I learned just in reading something today that actually this is the Jewish liturgical text that has the most melodies that have been written for it, indeed to another more contemporary melody, and it works. The first few weeks we led these virtual services, we used Leonard Cohen's Hallelujah, and I think it's fitting that we do that again, in part because on the holiday of Pesach we sing Hallel, we sing psalms of praise. So I thought singing some extra hallelujahs would be appropriate at this time. And the text, here's a little fun fact that you can whip out at cocktail parties. It was composed by a 16th century Kabbalist, a mystic, named Solomon Alkabetz, and he lived in Sfat in the north of Israel. And he did something that a lot of these medieval poets and liturgists did. He inscribed his name in the poem as an acrostic. He put the first letter of the first word of each of the first 8 stanzas. Oh, there's Coco again, ready to do it. Those all spell out together Shlomo Halevi, which is what he went by. And I'm also struck at some resonance with Lecha Dodi in where we are as a society right now. The first 2 verses describe Shabbat, and the next 6 verses address the ruined and abandoned city of Jerusalem, urging Jerusalem, in the words of the prophet Isaiah, to rise up and shine, for the light of her redemption has come. And finally, the last stanza addresses the bride, the beloved one of Shabbat, and bids her to enter. So I was thinking about the abandoned cities. I was thinking about the shuttered stores and restaurants and all of the bits of the landscape of our daily life. And that perhaps we can look at Lecha Dodi and hear it with new meaning as we pray with all of our kavanah, all of our intention, that our world, our cities will open back up again at the right time when we can all be healthy together. We'll sing verses 1, 2, 5, and 9. Shamor וזכור בדיבור and may feel shackled in some ways, we can certainly still experience awe and wonder, and in fact, we are obligated to notice the miraculous in the mundane. So I invite you to type in, I've loved the responses that I've seen often after the service, but any responses of it could be the smallest thing that gave you a sense of wonder this Shabbat, and we'll harvest that up in this virtual space before we move into singing Ma Gadlu Ma'asecha Ya, our wow verse from Psalm 92. So if anyone wants to type it in, or just say it to somebody if you're near somebody, just say it too. You can also say it aloud to nobody in particular. Nobody will judge you for talking to yourself. So if you're still thinking and want to type it in, you can type it in at any time of the service. And right now I just ask you to bring it to your mind and your heart. So we're going to sing Hallelujah. Some of us, you can select whether you want to sing the Hallelujah part or whether you want to be with us in the prayer book. And again, for those who joined late, the prayer book can be found virtually online, and you can find the address for that on our website, www.ohabei.org. But if you're following along, we're at the top of page 342. Hallelujah, hallelujah. One moment of awe, or one experience of awe I'd like to just uplift, that for those who can't see the comments, that somebody posted, the resilience of the human spirit brings me wonder and awe. Absolutely. And Coco is squeaking, so I assume that means that she too experienced awe and wonder this week. She may also be asking for another cup of food. So we're going to move into Ma'ariv on page 26 with Chatzi Kaddish. Yitkadal ve'yitkadash shemei rabba ve'alma divrach hirutei ve'amlich malchutei bechayechon uvyomechon ובחיי דכל בית ישראל בגלה בגלה ובזמן קורי ויאמרו אמן יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעלם ולעלמי עלמיה יתברך יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי קודשה בריחו לעילה מן כל מרחתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דעמי אירן בעלמה ויאמרו Amen. If you're able to do so, I invite you to rise and to face east towards Jerusalem. And we will be chanting Baruch Hu, the formal call to prayer on page 28. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach leolam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach leolam va'ed. And you can be seated. I'm on page 30. ומעביר יום ומבדיל לילה, ומבדיל בין יום ובין לילה, אדוני צבאות שמו, אל חי וקיים, תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני, המעריב ערבים. Page 32, a blessing for unending love. אהבת עולם בית ישראל עמך אהבת תורה ומצוות חוקים ומשפטים אותנו לימדת על כן אדוני אלוהינו בשוכבנו ובקומנו נשיח בחוקך ונשמח בדברי תורתך ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד. כי הם חיינו באורך ימינו באורך ימינו ובהם נגד יומם ולילה יומם ולילה. באהבתך לא תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני אוהב עמו ישראל. שמע ישראל אדוני אלוהינו אדוני אחד. ברוך שם כבוד מלכותו לעולם ועד. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם אלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אדוני אלוהיכם emet. Our tradition teaches that it was on the seventh day after the departure from Egypt after the departure from Egypt that the sea split and the Israelites were at last redeemed. So we are in that middle time. We remembered the Exodus, and now the Israelites, as we sort of reenact their journey, are sort of in this in-between state, and all sorts of emotions are at play as the Egyptians are still pursuing them. So we're going to sing what happens afterwards, this outflowing, this outburst of joyous gratitude and song. Going to sing our lying down blessing, our Hashkivenu blessing, as well as Hapores. We're going to bless the one who spreads out a canopy of peace. Ufros Aleinu Sukat Shlomecha. All of this is on page 42, all in the same blessing. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Leshalom V'haniteinu Shomreinu Lechaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Leshalom V'haniteinu Shomreinu Lechaim. Everything's gonna be alright. Everything's gonna be alright. Everything's gonna be alright. Go to sleep tonight.
Everything's gonna be alright. Everything's gonna be alright. Everything's gonna be alright. Everything's
ושמור צאתנו ובואנו לחיים ולשלום מעתה ועד עולם. ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך. ופרוס עלינו part of that woven canopy of peace that I like to envision as a giant talis, talit, an embrace, a hug of warmth and light and love that we really can help create for one another, and really we must create for one another. So my blessing for all of us is that we can remember a time when we felt so held and secure and at peace, and that we can bring out of that feeling, we can bring that sense to others who so desperately need it right now. So we're going to move now into the Amidah, which begins, if you're following along, it's on page 46, and our custom at Ohabei Shalom is for me or the leader to chant the first three blessings aloud, and then we'll take some quiet time for our own prayer, and you can use whatever you want as the text for your prayer. It could come from a place deep within you or from any text, any words that you need right now. And then we'll join back together with a prayer for peace. Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi agid tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. And we rise if we haven't already, if we're able. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיה הכל אתה רב להושיע. Morid Hatal. We've switched over to the summer blessing as we are in Pesach now. Mechalkel chayim bechesed, mechaye hakol berachamim rabim, somech noflim verofei cholim, umatir asurim, umekayem emunato lishenei afar, michamocha ba'al gevurot umidomelach, melech memit umechayeh umatzmiach yeshua, v'ne'eman ata lachayot hakol, baruch ata Adonai mechayeh hakol. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש. As you complete your personal prayers, I invite you to be seated if you'd like. We're going to pray for peace together with Shalom Rav, a great peace, on page 60. Shalom Rav, Israel Amcha, Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav, Israel Amcha, Tasim Leolam. Ki ata hu melech adon, Lechol hashalom. Ki ata hu melech adon, Lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. V'tov beinecha levarech et amcha Yisrael bechol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. So it's customary to count the Omer at the end of the Amidah. Counting the Omer is something that Rabbi Schaefer is very interested in. Not that I'm not interested in it, but it's one of his passions, and he will be, he's doing some special things related to the counting of the Omer, and he either has or will be posting a video, a little teaching about it. But it is a really fascinating practice because it's so simple. The mitzvah is simply to count and note where you are on this journey from slavery to, from liberation to redemption, from becoming free to receiving the wisdom that will teach you why you are free. In our tradition, freedom is not for its own sake. It is not a value in and of itself. The Israelites needed to become free so that we could be a certain way in this world and take our sacred covenantal role as God's partner in bringing all of the attributes of God, which we actually customarily read about on this Shabbat, mercy and compassion and all of the godliness. It's our job to bring that into this world. So we're on that journey, and we counted day 1 last night. And if you had a second Seder, you may have counted it during the second Seder. I know that we did. And for some people, this feels like, well, it's just, we just count. We just say what day it is. What's so powerful about that? And admittedly, I've been one of those people. But I am really trying to take this on as a practice and delve more into the spiritual meaning of the counting of the Omer, and I invite you to do that as well. There are a lot of resources, both that Rabbi Schaefer will be providing and that are online. You can always email either one of us if you need some help finding those resources, but there's all sorts of beautiful spiritual dimensions to counting the Omer. And the mystics came up with a whole system that each of these 7 weeks, as we march towards Sinai, where we'll receive this great gift of love, this wisdom of Torah, Every week has a different attribute associated with it, and every day within that week has a different attribute associated with it. So last night, the first night, we were in the attribute of chesed, of kindness, of compassion, loving kindness. And we were in compassion of compassion. Last night was the attribute of kindness within kindness. So a layering, a doubling of kindness. And tonight we're in Gevura Shel Chesed. We're in the strength within kindness. So I'm not going to say more about it because it'll turn into a sermon. And I do want us to count the Omer. But I really do encourage you with that little bit, hopefully, of inspiration to learn more about this practice. So we begin, and if you're following, we're on page 278, or if you have another source for the counting of the Omer blessing. We say, Hineni muchan u'mezuman lekayem mitzvat aseh shel sfirat ha'omer. I am ready to fulfill the mitzvah of counting of the Omer. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al sfirat ha'omer. And you can answer, Amen. Our praise to you, God, source of all life and blessing, who sanctifies us with mitzvot, commanding us to count the Omer. Hayom shnei yamim la'omer. Today is 2 days of the Omer, of our 49 days. That's it. That's the mitzvah. So now we turn to a prayer for healing. I'm struck by the counting of the Omer and the counting of those who've been impacted by COVID-19. The daily counts that we're able to see in our city, our state, our country, and our world. The numbers are devastating, and they're also abstract. We must remember that each and every number is a precious soul, a world unto itself. We're going to pray for those souls who are in need of healing of body and or healing of spirit. There are so many people in our world who are fearful, who are mourning, who are so wanting to be with their loved ones who are ill and are not able to be. So many have had their world turned upside down in more ways than simply just having to be in isolation from one another. So I really bring all of those into this virtual space tonight, as well as the many, many thousands who are struggling with this horrible illness, even in its mild form. It can be quite frightening and horrible. I pray for healing for all of the heroes who are on the front lines. I wish they didn't have to be heroes. Wish they had what they needed to care for their patients and keep themselves safe, but I include those in this healing prayer as well. If there are particular people you would like to bring into this virtual space who are in need of any kind of healing, I invite you to type it in if you're able to do that. And if you're not able to type it in, simply say it aloud. I really believe that that energy builds and is woven together and ultimately transcends us. I'll give you a moment to do that. All those in need of healing right here. You might even want to just hold your heart. I feel called to do that at this moment. We'll be singing from page 253.
May the source of strength
that we've ever before been so aware of how interconnected we are as human beings and how little that which divides us matters. Ultimately, every human being has a set of lungs right here, and those lungs can be harmed by disease, or they can be healthy and strong and full of air, and they can be, I wonder if perhaps we can just envision sending good full lungs worth of air to those who are struggling to breathe, either from this illness or from the grief that accompanies this illness, whether it's our own fear for ourselves and our loved ones' health, or the grief of having lost someone to this illness, that we can bring that air that we hopefully are able to breathe tonight, and imagine that we're giving it to others across the world. So I've said a lot of things, so I don't think I want to talk at you much more, but I was thinking about a couple of things. Rabbis do that. I'm sure all of you do too. So I was thinking about where we are, and most of all that, as I just said about the counting of the Omer, we're on a journey. And as Jews, we're always on two journeys at once, always two simultaneous journeys, our own personal individual journey through our own individual life, and our communal journey, which transcends our lifespan. And right now, as a people, as I mentioned earlier, we are in that period between escape, a hurried escape from Egypt, and getting to the sea and having the sea part. We are, in our story, in our Magid, in the telling section of the Seder, we recalled the drama. We recalled the plagues and Pharaoh's heart being hardened and hardened and hardened again, and finally the most horrible plague of all, and Pharaoh finally relenting and the people leaving. And then in Torah we know that Pharaoh's heart is stiffened again, and Pharaoh wants the Egyptians to go after the Israelites. There's a lot of push and pull. There's a lot of let go, no, actually, never mind. And so consequently, on the part of the Israelites, there are so many emotions. They're not quite sure where they are in their journey. They don't know that there's going to be a miracle. Where we are right now in our journey as a people, as we stand just now with this evening going into Chol HaMoed, the intermediate days of Pesach, and until we get to the seventh day, remember, when Jews remember, we don't remember like that happened to them long ago in those days. We remember by saying it happened to us. We see ourselves as having been part of that story, and we inhabit that story. So where are we communally in that story? We're not yet at the parting of the sea. We've remembered the hurrying towards an uncertain future. We are in the period of knowing that we've left Egypt, but we're being pursued by an enemy. We've left slavery, we're being pursued by an enemy, and we find ourselves between that enemy and the sea. And we have no idea that the sea is soon to split by a power beyond our comprehension. But it will part, and we will make our way through it on dry land. So I was thinking, of course, what happens when we get to that moment and we do cross that sea. And I came across a really incredible teaching by an incredible scholar that I've been blessed to learn from many years ago, but she's written several books. Her name is Dr. Aviva Zornberg. She lives in Israel, and she's an amazing Torah scholar. And, usually we think that the song, as we just recalled when we sang together, Mi Chamocha, that song is so joyous. And I always say to you, when we sing it, let's remember a moment of great joy and relief and gratitude. But Zornberg suggests that maybe there's another way to read this story. And she cites an opinion of a rabbi named Baruch Halevi Epstein, who is the nephew of a very famous Eastern European 19th century rabbi known as the Netziv. And he argues that actually, no, the song that the Israelites sang, they didn't sing it after they've emerged from the Red Sea. They sang it while they're still marching through its waters, being pursued by Pharaoh's army. And Rabbi Zachary Truboff says, if this is indeed the case, then this is still Aviva Zornberg. If this is the case, then the Song of the Sea cannot be understood as a song of pure joy and triumph, but rather as a song fraught with tension. The Jewish people must sing in full view of their oppressors. They must sing while their future is still uncertain, wondering whether they will indeed make it to the other side. The song does not deny their pain. Instead, they must find the strength to sing while still bearing the psychological wounds of slavery, and I would add, and the terror of being pursued by an enemy. Under these circumstances, the Song of the Sea, and this now is Rabbi Zachary Truboff, must embody the complex reality of joy and pain living side by side. Until the final and complete redemption takes place, joy and pain have no choice but to coexist. If this was true for Jewish people at the Red Sea, how much more so for us? And he notes that even on the festivals, on our most joyful days, we carry our losses with us. So joy and pain are intermingled in a deeper way than perhaps in any of our lifetimes on this holiday of this Pesach. And we are asked to sing in the midst of our fear. Now, I'm sure we can think of examples of singing in the midst of fear, of singing as a way of soothing ourselves, or of singing as a way of soothing loved ones, like a lullaby. But it's striking to think about, imagine ourselves, first of all, in that wilderness, and we don't know that the sea is going to part. And then we're in the sea, and we're still being pursued. The sea hasn't closed up yet. The Egyptians haven't been drowned behind us. We are in a moment of existential terror, and still, according to this commentator, we sing. I know that for many of us, this Passover may have been very difficult. And we may have made it through. We may have been able to sing through our Seders. We may have mustered all of our energy and really found that beautiful point of connection between fear and pain and joy, and remembering our people's joy, and maybe remembering past Seders where we had all of our loved ones with us physically. Or this Passover, our Seders, we may have felt very lonely. We may have been more in touch with the pain part of it. So my blessing for all of us, which I think is similar to what I said last night, but I think it's really last week, when I talked about the wilderness and how we must march through the wilderness together. I think that as we approach that parting of the sea, and we're going to still be in that moment where we don't know if the sea is going to close up after we get through it. We don't know if and when we will be safe. We don't know if we'll be spared. I hope that when any one of us feels more in touch with the joy part and can sing from a place of joy, can communicate to others from a place of joy, that we will share that with others who may be having a day where they're more in touch with that place of pain and fear. We're all, as I said last week, we are all, every one of us, going to have days and have had days over the past few weeks. Better days and not such good days. And that is just a part of this reality. And I really hope and pray that we as a community, though physically distanced from one another, and that means the Ohabei Shalom community, the Jewish community, and the human community, I hope that we will take our better days, our points of joy, to share them with those who may be singing, trying their hardest to sing through pain. So may we be blessed as we are in this unknown. We don't know what the future holds, and of course it turns out we never know what the future holds. This moment just has us more in touch with our vulnerability and the precariousness of our existence than it is in the rush of regular life. We don't have the familiar signposts of our familiar daily rituals and places and faces. But we do have the tradition that transcends us and that teaches us that Coco once again has some thoughts. I'm sorry about that. But that our tradition that we can hold fast to, and that it teaches us to hold one another up as we cross the sea in our fear and in our joy. Shabbat Shalom. I'd like us to just sort of conclude that with a line from the Song at the Sea, Ozi v'zimrat ya vayihili lishua. What is that oz? What is that strength? Ozi means my strength. If you're following, it's on the bottom of page 343. Adonai is my strength and my might. God will be my salvation. We are salvation for one another when we hold each other through the unknown. To conclude our service, beginning on page 282. And we rise for Aleinu, for Abel. Aleinu leshabeach ladon hakol, latet gedula liotzer bereshit, shehu note shamayim veyoser aretz, umoshav yikaro bashamayim yima'al, ushchinatu zo begofei merumim, u'eloheinu ein od, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד. At this time we recall those we have loved who are no longer with us in this world with Mourner's Kaddish. Please take a moment, and if you're able to type the name or names of those for whom you are reciting Mourner's Kaddish this evening, you can do that now. And I will say that from our community, we are remembering a very long time member, although hadn't really been involved since he was a child, and that is Robert Rosengard. So anyone you are remembering this evening can either type in or say aloud at this time. And Mourner's Kaddish is on page 294. And of course, we also call to mind and to heart all those who have died as a result of the coronavirus. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah. בעלמא דברה חירותי והמליך מלכותי בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל בעגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעלם ולעלמי עלמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי קודשה בריחו. לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דאמירן בעלמא ואמרו אמן. יהי שלמה רבה מן שמיה וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום ממרומיו הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום ממרומיו הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. יעשה שלום שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל יעשה שלום שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל יעשה שלום שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל יעשה שלום שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. A couple of brief announcements. And I love that these announcements can be relevant for anyone, no matter where you are, in a way that was not true when we were meeting in person. You can join us for so many virtual programs and services, and I'd just like to highlight a couple of them. Tomorrow morning at 10:30, our community will be joining with the Shir Chadash community for morning service and study, and Rabbi Schaefer and I will be leading the service along with members of Shir Chadash. And all of the information about what Zoom link to use is all in our newsletter, and also in a newsletter you should have received today, and also on our homepage. And on Wednesday, we're going to have a 7th day of Pesach, concluding Pesach, because in the Reform tradition we observe 7 days, and we will hold a service at 10 a.m. on Wednesday the 15th to conclude Pesach, and that service will include Hallel, some musical psalms of praise, and Yizkor, so the memorial service. So if there's anyone that for whom you recite Yizkor, a close relative, I invite you to join us for that service, for all of it or part of it. We'll do Yizkor towards the end of that service. It'll probably go about an hour, that service. We also have a Yom HaShoah, a Holocaust Remembrance Day program, coming up on Monday night, April 20th at 7 p.m. I will be leading a service that will include a lighting of the Holocaust Memorial candle that our members received by mail through the generosity of the Brotherhood. Thank you to the Brotherhood. We will have a moment to light that candle, or another candle if you wish, together to commemorate Yom HaShoah, all those who were murdered in the Holocaust. We will also have our member Honey Sachs, who will be zooming in from South Carolina, where she is with Ken. And Honey was born in Bergen-Belsen, and she has memories, though she was 3. She has memories of being in a displaced persons camp until she was 3, and will have a lot to share with us, including some interesting artifacts. She'll be speaking with us that night, the same night, 7 o'clock, April 20th. We'll have a short service, and we'll hear from Honey Sachs, who is a child survivor of the Holocaust. So we're going to make Kiddush and Motzi. Of course, this time our Motzi, our plate is a little flatter. You want to help me, Ami? Okay. So Ami will hold the plate. I'll hold the Kiddush cup. And if you want to look on with the words and you have access to the book, we're on page 5. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu b'shabbat kodsho b'yahava uvratzon hinchilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit ki hu yom techila lemikra'ei kodesh zecher letziat mitzrayim kivanu v'acharta v'tanu kidashta mikol hamim v'shabbat kodshecha b'yahava uvratzon hinchaltanu baruch atah Adonai mekadesh HaShabbat. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. We will conclude our service with Olam Chesed Yibaneh. As we're marching from liberation to revelation, let's remember what that revelation is ultimately for and what that freedom is ultimately for. And that is for us to build a world of chesed, of kindness, compassion, and love. Olam chesed yibaneh. So glad you were able to join us, and huge thank you to my husband, Rabbi Jethro Berkman, for playing guitar throughout the service and being the wind beneath my wings. I wish you all a Shabbat Shalom. I hope that I will see you perhaps for tomorrow morning's service or Torah study or in an upcoming program or service. And Shabbat Shalom from all of us here at the Berkman household.